Welcome back, my people. Hope everyone is alive and well. Before we begin, like, share, subscribe. Click on all the useful little bits that actually help the channel grow. So we are back in with a pull workout, 3.5 weeks out for myself, a week and a half for the wife. It's crunch time. First, I'm gonna start with the usual core work before I actually do pull. The reason why I like to start with core work, particularly leg raise. Again, a leg raise does work the hip flexors and your abdominals as well. Your abs actually play a massive role when it comes to stability during your pull session. So it does make sense to do a little bit of ab work if you do find yourself having a bit of a hard time to gain the right posture through all your lat work or upper back work. Your lat is actually connected into your oblique, so you need to be able to have strong connection with abdominals, in my opinion, in order to be able to gain the right position to fully get the most out of your lat movements. Oh, no leaning back. Don't bend your spine. You're doing it again where you go in, you get in the side shot, you hit it. So you're still pointing to go that way. You don't need to go that way. You literally just need to twist and that's it. That's better. So when you look at your spine here, your spine's straight now. Yeah. Don't lean back, don't lean forward, just straight. That's perfect. Body weight wise, you need to keep you around here now. Okay. Can't be any lighter now. If anything, a little bit heavier. Okay. So I think on stage probably be at 126, 127. Right. I think we can get away with being a bit heavier still. All right. So that's what we're gonna do. Yeah?
I'll come in Friday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all get to a certain point in prep when inevitably you will have to scale back your loading in order to keep the quality of your work high. So at this point now, 3.5 weeks out, I will be taking small reductions in load in order to keep the quality of all my execution to a high standard so it doesn't slip. Don't forget, it's all about utilizing progressive overload and all its principles correctly. Therefore, priority always remains quality over quantity. I'm just telling people what we're doing. Filming you both. Yeah, filming me and you. Okay? She's a bit dead. As you can imagine, she's in the depths of it. The plan is probably to start peaking her from tomorrow, as she's pretty much ready. The last couple of days left of fat loss, and we're pretty much all the way there in terms of condition that she needs to be in. She handles it much better than anyone else I know, so she probably feels a lot worse than she looks. But she cracks on, so. So like I mentioned earlier, today's going to be the first session where I actually scale back a little bit. Generally, my last working set on here was 5 plates and a 5. All I'm going to do today is take the 5 kilo off and then just tighten reps with 5 plates. That's the same approach I'm going to take across all my sessions moving forward from here, just to make sure that the quality remains high, range of motion remains exactly as it needs to be. The worst thing you can do is try and overdo the loading in a contest prep and actually sacrifice the stimulus on the muscle through making your form worse, sacrificing range of motion and tempo. Don't forget guys, it's bodybuilding, not powerlifting. Numbers literally mean fucking nothing. Any force? No. Nothing. If it's a 50-50 rep, yeah, but I'll give you a nod. It will get to a certain point in prep where you need to not only scale back your loading, but also some of the intensity techniques that we have been using, such as force reps. You will get to a point where your recovery demand increases and you cannot match your recovery demand through additions of extra work like set extensions. Therefore, intensifiers need to be removed in order for you to be able to stay as strong as you physically can and not drive any negative adaptations and fatigue that you do not want in a contest prep. That's why I'm scaling back a little bit, because I'm at that point now where, if anything, it's harder to fucking stay locked in because I'm so much lighter. I wasn't even doing this when I was like 270. In order for me to be able to keep up the intensity that I'm going with, I need to be mindful of my approach to each and every single set. You have to make sure you are able to bring all your energy into these sets. Therefore, what you do outside of the gym truly matters. You have to make sure you prioritize all your recovery modalities to the best of your ability. Sleep, nutrition, stress management, all has to be nailed. And that is year round, not just in a contest prep.
So obviously Cuba just spoke about his volume. My volume came down about 3 weeks ago, I think it was now, just because we wanted to try and make sure that strength could obviously stay in an okay place, because obviously everybody has their own methods, but in my opinion, whatever built your muscle will keep your muscle. So I want to stay as strong as I possibly can, while still keeping enough volume to warrant keeping the muscle tissue there. So volume has come down a little bit, more so from amount of movements than actual total volume, which means less warm-up sets, which means less overall volume, which means more energy to be able to put into the sets, which is good. It's meant that throughout the entire of my prep, I've not actually lost strength on anything yet, and I'm a week out, so and my condition is okay. I mean, I always think that it could be better, but there we go. But yeah, no, feeling good. This is my first movement, so we'll see if strength stays for the whole of the session.
Help. Yes. Common question I get asked, especially in a contest prep, is should you get weaker? Absolutely not. If you are losing strength in a contest prep, that is a massive sign that something is wrong. You should not lose much strength throughout the majority of your contest prep. The only time where you should notice a slight dip in performance is once you start getting close to true contest condition. If you are losing performance prior to this, you need to really address all the variables that are at play as something is definitely not going to the way it should be.
That's on your own with this one, at least. Take it. Oh yeah. Don't even think you'll need it. There you go. There you go.
Here we go. You're starting to get in a habit where
Wrapping too tight.
yeah, don't do that. This,
Aligned.
right? Aligned. Literally, all I want this is just a grip. That is it. Now that, running a straight motion here. The second you start going this or that, down or up, think about having a line of force. It's forearm, and then it's either bicep or tricep. You need a straight line of force where you're just thinking about the grip. And then this, don't even think about this. All you're thinking about is driving your elbow down into the pocket of the hip. But whilst you're driving here, internal rotation at your elbow. There. Think about wrapping your lat around your spine as well. All day, baby. All day. Here we go. Okay. So when it comes to tracking progression and how I actually log my repetitions, if the reps at the end get scrappy or sloppy, they do not get accounted for in my logbook. So I only count the reps that I know was 100% accurate. This set, I got 15 reps. Last rep was a dog shit rep. That rep does not get put in my logbook. The 14 reps that was accurate before that rep do. So make sure when you are using a logbook, you're using it to accurately measure quality reps, not just numbers.
a rear delt row and a rear delt pull down are probably movements that you can't really do until you've learned how to do a reverse fly effectively, because they are hard movements to be able to isolate the rear delt. It's very easy to take over in the upper back and specifically into the trap. With the rear delt row, you'll almost feel as though you're hunched forwards, but you won't be. You'll have a fully neutral spine, everything will be nice and neutral. The most important thing with the rear delt row is that the shoulders don't protract and they don't retract. They literally feel like they're almost bang next to your ears at all times. You literally feel like you're like this. You won't look like that, or maybe I did. That's how you'll feel. And that's the way in which you'll isolate the rear delts rather than getting trap engagement. You can't stop engagement in other areas ever, but you can try and isolate something as much as possible. And that's by keeping the shoulders from moving backwards and forwards, by keeping them in line with the ears and just allowing the elbows to do the work. Making sure that you do take a little mini pause at the top and bottom always.
Okay, motherfuckers.
Still going. Still going. Let's go. Come on. Here we go. Full red. Take it. Follow hard. Come on. Here we go. That's the
I keep getting connected to things.
I'm getting connected. I'm developing a better connection. With a rear delt pull down, I actively allow my scaps to go into slight protraction and elevation. Each and every single rep, I make sure I actually pause in the stretch. This actually allows me to stay super accurate and allows me to actually engage with my rear delt. So once I actually get in that position, all I think about then is driving my upper arm out and around in line with my rear delt. So my elbow path is much higher than it would be if I was trying to bias my upper back in an upper back row. That is the biggest difference between upper back work and a rear delt pull down variation or rear delt row. It's predominantly your arm path, which has to align in line with your rear delt musculature. So elbow path has to remain higher in line with your rear delt. Write that down. You are basically trying to flex your bicep under load. High cable curl is the best example of that. I see people often trying to curl with the wrist facing away like this. Now, a simple difference between your wrist being like this and like this is being able to actually engage your bicep and get the most out of a full contraction. So your wrist position truly matters, and the way you actually move throughout the movement really matters. So as a reference point, whatever movement you do when you are trying to train your bicep, it's a very, very small muscle. One, it requires a small amount of load, and two, it requires a lot of precision with a super controlled tempo. And think about flexing your bicep under load. If you are unable to do that, the load is just too heavy. That's arm day done. Right, that's enough now showing the flesh. You can have a proper look in a few weeks' time when I step on stage. But this year, honestly, many of you that have been following the channel, I've barely actually trained my arms, so I think this coming off season, I might see if I can really put some serious tissue on them. As an open bodybuilder, you can never have big enough arms, so that's what one of my favourite bodybuilders ever, Punta Labrada, said. So I'll just have to follow along. What is good, my people? We hope you enjoyed today's episode. We're definitely getting in the thick of it now. You know, Meg's just over a week out. It's getting very exciting. 10 days out tomorrow? Today, yeah. So 9 days out tomorrow. We are more than likely going to start peaking process from tomorrow, which I will talk you through in another separate video on how we actually do the peaking for both myself, and potentially we'll speak about how we actually peak the bikini girls and get Jabin involved as well. As I think you're going to find it quite interesting with how we do things. But first, let's get the shows done, and then after we've done the shows, we'll talk about the peaking process and how we actually did it. Both Meg and Jade will talk you through in detail, but Meg is actually going to start peaking tomorrow. Jade was ready about a month ago, so she's pretty much in off season, but we'll talk a little bit more detail in that. But she's definitely making the right improvements. So next show, Sasquatch Pro, we're going to have Jade, Meg and Rhea compete, which is quite exciting for me as a coach, especially coaching these two for a long, long time. So I've definitely got a large emotional attachment towards their process, because we've done it for so long and we've got a lot of memories, a lot of experiences as well. So I'm really excited to see how it goes, as I know they're both bringing their absolute best, and that's all we can ask for. So whatever happens, in my eyes, they've already achieved massive success through bringing the packages that they're both bringing. So incredibly proud and very, very excited. Peace out for now, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, support me and the wife and Jade. Sasquatch Pro coming through. Watch out for more videos coming soon.